And so it's really an honor to be here, and we'd like to share with you how you can power up, let's say, content application based on Unreal inside industrial, let's say, content and context. Okay, and of course, so the idea of this presentation is to, let's say, share our vision, why we move on this direction, and to share with you what is our motivation, and also what were, let's say, the difficulty we met first when we tried this at the beginning. And of course, we will try to then explain to you what are our, let's say, our solution based on the platform approach. And we will show you some customer use case, which are very like industrial. So I guess you will get really this into really application. And then we will do live demo with all the risks that it contains with Benjamin. So we have 4 live demos to show you. So we hope everything will go well. And then, of course, we can conclude. Okay. So how it started. So this is me 23 years ago. So I was a innovation engineer working at Airbus. So it's a European, let's say, aerospace company. And I was working on digitalization of, let's say, a lot of processes to provide business values from technical data and to break silos between departments in order to be more efficient and so on. And so for all these companies, innovation are really key drivers to stay competitive. And this is really something where they invest a lot on how to do that and to be always on the leading edge. So during 17 years working at Airbus, I've seen up close how 3D simulation have had a huge impact on new development projects, okay? Especially helping to spot mistakes early in the design process. So it's really like we can save millions for each project as soon as you can identify issues before, of course, you manufacture the part, you build a plant, whatsoever. So from all this convinced of this business value, I decided to create a Skyreal company to push these technologies as a product for many other sectors. So this is just some kind of introduction about the American way of innovation, because throughout these stories, Americans have a long tradition of embracing bold initiatives. And in each of this image, a lot of, let's say, teams and groups of people came together to challenge and surpass the convention and the limits of their time. So this is the spirit of daring that have driven technology progress and shaped entire industries. And this is really what is inspiring for us. Today, time is running out, and of course, we need more people who can dare existing limits and propose innovations. We aim to promote boldness and risk-taking among industry leaders by pushing boundaries of innovation and engineering. In fact, what we want is really to help engineers bringing their project to life. So to design innovative products, in fact, it's really important to change and to use next generation solutions. So engineering industries can afford to innovate and to their concept in virtual world, because in fact, you don't waste any materials, or you can, let's say, you don't fear, let's say, consequences in virtual worlds. And so they can optimize the project faster, more efficiently, while saving precious resources in the real world. So Game and Jam is really, technologies is really a major impact on the industries. So let's take a first example of very something interesting. It's America's Cup. So America's Cup is the oldest sport competition. And maybe you know this, let's say, famous competition. And in fact, what is interesting is that it's not only a sailing competition, but it's also a design competition. Because in fact, you get the rules of your boat, of the design of the boat, the constraints, something like 1.5 years before the race. So you have 1.5 years to design the, let's say, competitive boat, like a Formula One, to train your team and then to compete, okay? And so they decided to leverage Skyreal solution to win the design race. This competition is not about selling, so it's really like how to build the best boat within the set time frame. So by using Skyreal technologies, the team significantly accelerated their design process. So let's see how it goes. So this is a boat.
I'm Dimitri Despierre, responsible for the VR has allowed us to anticipate a lot of things, including, like example, make sure that it's not going to break because we need a hole here or a hole there. Without the VR, you cannot be as accurate because placing all those components accurately in the boat with the technician and engineer really placing, you end up having the center of gravity and the weight very accurate, and that's directly translating into the performance of the boat because we know exactly where we need to place our foils. So that's definitely a success.
So this example is really a way like, it's not only about reducing the design time and the optimized cost, but it's also how to enable them to be on the, let's say, the first boat on the water and then to save time, as it is really the key for them. Okay. So to speed up innovation and to be, let's say, how we can, let's say, put this as the same way as in industries, it's really a matter to promote 3D as a common language for the full team in order to share common understanding of each step and of each details. So working efficiently together on complex projects thanks to the power of 3D models. So idea is really to enable all these actors to use 3D data in their system, not as a simple visual tool, but as a powerful lens for problem solving. So at Skyreal, we're talking about immersive prototyping, we're talking about training, predictive simulations. So we provide the capability to visualize, analyze, and modify complex environment by optimizing process and reducing risk. So in a word, what we are doing, in fact, our mission is really to solve complexity in the project by unlocking the value of existing 3D data coming from the PLM and the CAD models. And in fact, we do that relying on two pillars. On one hand, we have the existing data, which have a lot of them. It's really like a bunch of data. And how we can, let's say, leverage all these assets that are existing, but locked inside a system which are morely closed. And on the other hand, of course, is to intend to leverage the power of Unreal Engine and this capacity to be, let's say, lifelike simulation. So the result is really to deploy game engine architecture solution for enterprise, automatically fed with CAD data, and offering unlimited customization capabilities. And just so really to be clear, we try to achieve three, let's say, I would say, difficulties at the same time. The first one is to deploy this as enterprise solution with all the cybersecurity constraints that exist. The second one is really to let's say, create interoperability with the PLM system to fed automatically the system. And the second one is to, let's say, to deploy Unreal Engine content inside enterprise. So this is Ariane 6. So what could be more complex than launching a rocket? So Ariane Group is a European company competing with SpaceX on space launcher business. Their challenge was to design a new rocket, Ariane 6, with engineers in France and Germany, and they launched the rocket in South America without any capacity to do scale 1 prototype of the launcher. So of course it's not possible. So they decided to use Skyreal as a major tools for the project. And of course, the technical challenge they asked us at the beginning was to be able to review the full launcher with all the parts at scale 1 with all the components. And of course, to do that automatically from the PLM without any, let's say, 3D artist working on the part and so on. So the idea was to say, okay, there is, I don't know, like 1 million objects. They want to be able anywhere in the company to load this scale 1 launcher and to see how it goes inside. So the idea was not necessarily to see this as a, let's say, beautiful place, but it was to get anyone from the company anywhere. So it's people in Germany. There is 9 sites of engineers working on this same rocket, and to be able to, all of them to let's say, navigate inside the mock-up and to do reviews together. So we did it. And with Skyreal solution, Ariane Group was able to automatically create this content by themselves from any design iteration. So it was like weekly update from their own, and to do this as a result. So okay, so of course it was. So this launchpad is in South America, in Guyane, and of course it was possible for them to see this. On a very early stage. So when we started on this adventure, okay, of course, what was the challenge we had to do this, to deploy these activities and so on? So the first source of difficulties was the CAD model and the PLM. So the PLM is the system which is called Product Lifecycle Management, which is in fact the source of truth for engineering, for engineers, which is really similar to a Git. So it's really where you got all the versioning system of your each part design geometry. Okay, and why it's really difficult and challenging to do that? First of all, because it is large models with, let's say, millions of objects inside. There is a lot of complexity in terms of modeling, in terms of part relationships, in terms of configuration, versioning. And of course, each part has a lot of details in terms of roles, in terms of what are all the featurings, a lot of 3D meshes. And of course, there is part structures, so product structures, which is relationship between objects, and a lot of attributes to take care. And of course, on the top of that, each company has different file format, each system, from Dassault Systèmes, Siemens, AutoCAD, PTC, and so on. Each of them have different values, different, let's say, version of their system with different file format version and so on. So it's really very ambitious to be able to input all of this. Okay. So that was where we spend, let's say, a lot of energy to be able to say, okay, let's make as an assumption that we can input as an input, take any CAD models from any size. Okay. And of course, we are now confident because we know that at the end we rely on Nanite to optimize this. So now we are not doing too much of defeaturing. We rely on Nanite to, let's say, to load all this model, whatever the number of parts they can have. The second challenge was really about, let's say, what about the UE-based content that we are going to generate. So of course, as we are going to produce, let's say, UE application, the question was, okay, what are the difficulties? And of course, the first one is how to feed all these, let's say, maps with 3D data, and how we can update this application when we update the CAD models. Okay. And of course, at the end, the other question was about what is the effort to produce a training scenario, to produce a maintenance simulation, process simulation, and really to get this aspect that it should be, let's say, very efficient in terms of effort and in terms of if we want to be able to deploy this and to be scalable. Okay. So the question is to say we don't want to have, let's say, one application for each CAD model. So it's really how we can avoid to do that and how we can scale, let's say, really make it scalable. And to, let's say, be compliant with security and deployment structure. Okay. So of course to get also authentication because we are part of an industry. So it's very important that each project member gets access to his own project and not, let's say, other project and so on. And of course to allow cross-application collaboration between different applications in the same way. So then, what is our solution? So, of course, we said we need to develop a platform. Okay, and the best way maybe is to rely on what you all know. It's UEFN. So, if we try to see how works this UEFN, so it's really a real model of the transformation of a game into a platform with unlimited customization. And that was very inspiring for us to say, okay, this is really what we aim to do, is to be able to give the opportunity for each customer to make its own customization. So through UEFN, Epigame has revolutionized the game landscape by offering players the ability to create immersive space where they can interact and collaborate. So that's really what defines a modern game overall architectures. So what you see is that, of course, there is a game, and then you see that there is a map and all the scripts that you can do. And in fact, what we produce on our side is very similar. So we could call that Unreal Editor for Skyreal. But in fact, we have as well so a main application called Skyreal. And in fact, it can load content that would be the CAD models and some extensions, which are the applications. I mean, the extension of the mods. And in fact, we really will create these layers of different, which are very similar if we try to create some parallels. So we have the main application, the maps, and the extension. All right. So, yes. So the technical approach is really to split in 3 worlds the content, which are the CAD, which will be completely fed by the PLM system. So we will, let's say, generate this with how we can get all this data on one side. The main game and the main application will be like, so we have several applications, but even customer can create their own one. okay, which is let's say major application, and then the DLC, which are the modification and really like with the things that you can customize close to user. You can create any kind of additional content, additional behavior, additional way to use the application. And these three pillars will produce an experience. Okay? And the idea is how we can, inside the platform, build up all this capacity to cherry pick and to create each experience for each users. So how does it work? So the overall platform is called XR Center, and this is how goes the user flow. In fact, so it's built over workspace. So of course, each workspace is a limited space with user right management for a dedicated team. Okay, and in fact, you can see on the left side the three pillars, which are the content, the app, and the extensions. So of course, you can fill the content, which can say like what are the fab for Unreal, but it will be like the project fab, which is really the library of all your data that you can feed. So of course, one are really, it can be tools or models. So it can be like, I don't know if you have tool for the manufacturing or for the maintenance on one hand, and you can have the CAD of your product. And of course, the idea is you can feed with different file format at the same time. And of course, the application is, we have several, we'll see that later, and some extension, and the extension can be environment, it can be any kind of, if you want to see your product on a field, and it can be also plugin that you can share which have different behaviors. Okay? So once you have fed the system, you can create experience by doing cherry picks, so you create what are the content you want, with which application and which extension. And you can create this, and this application will be played by the user with, from any place on the company. So of course it will be the same from different roles. It can be a training application, an assembly simulation, it can be a design review, whatsoever. But from the same CAD model, you can produce several experiences. Okay, and this is a full workspace, very, let's say, user-friendly for any engineers. So, in fact, it produces content for any kind of, let's say, let's say, a display. So we have people using, let's say, multi-display system like N-Display. Some are doing VR, so it can be AR as well, and it can be any kind of computer systems. Okay. So XR Center is really a unique platform to manage CAD data, CAD-based project with a secure workflow, and it can be deployed on-premise or on cloud, and its architecture is compliant with cybersecurity constraints for industries. So it has already been deployed in large industries from defense. So we already have, let's say, let's say, challenged by a lot of constraints. And in fact, what you see on the right side is really what are all the capabilities, but so the main one is the capacity to convert and to have this preparation cluster pool. So it's a capacity to test all the conversion models. And if you have, let's say, a lot of workload, you can distribute this over several preparation agents. So it will speed up. And of course, the main thing is that it is a database, and of course, it will be, let's say, structured in workspace with a user authentication and user right management to secure who will be access to each one. And of course, it can manage a library of assets, of plugins, and so on, so you can distribute and deploy your content either as a content or as a plugin. So, in a nutshell, in fact, see if we want to conclude this approach before we go on. So it's really important to understand that you have, let's say, the same approach to get the CAD model with Unreal Engine, and it produces content for a lot of, let's say, application inside industry that can be over engineering application, manufacturing, training and marketing. So of course, it's a lot of capabilities. So let's see some examples. So going back to Ariane 6 use case. So they've been, let's say, using the full potential of this platform. So for example, for the engineering side, they've been using VR application to design in VR the pipes for the engine. So in fact, they realized that it was much more easy to design the pipes, which are really in 3D, moving their arms like this, and to send the design back to the CAD system. And they save 3 times the time to really make this design pipe on the engine. On the manufacturing side, they've been doing, let's say, a validation of robotic cells. So it was really like large robotic cells to launch the production. And in fact, as it was really like they couldn't involve all the people from the shop floor, the security, everyone from the, let's say, the ground support. They could identify issues much more before, and then it was possible to launch the robotic cells 6 months earlier than they were planned at the beginning. They also developed training support to train people in French Guyana. So people are, let's say, they were about to produce operation that was, let's say, defined by people in Germany or in France. So it was important to find solution to train people which are over the Atlantic without traveling people over the ocean. And of course, it was important to say, okay, let's do it with, let's say, virtual training scenario with VR. And this is what they did. And in fact, it was possible to train people before the first launcher operation on the launch pad. And also, of course, what they did, it was important to be able to see the launch before it started with really like lifelike demonstration and to engage all the stakeholders and to secure everyone from this. So let's see a video to what it looks like. So it's really the same. So this is the design in VR capability inside Skyreal where you can route any kind of pipe and let's say harness. And so you can design this, okay? And as you explained, they do this, and in fact, they send all these routes back into the CAD system because it's much more, let's say, easy for them to see the constraint to turn around so they can design. At the same time, they turn around the pipe, and they can do that in multiplayer session. Okay, so this is a Prometheus engine. So the manufacturing, so you see they have people doing the robotic programming inside the specific tools. And in fact, we just get this, let's say, operation planning converted inside this software and to play it. So it was possible to be inside the robotic cell and to see this. So this is also the virtual training. So the virtual training is really how to follow the, let's say, operation instructions and to see how much you can, let's say, you understand and you identify which tool to use at which step and so on. So it's really some kind of dry run operation to see that everything is understood and the whole operation are checked about what are the conditions, what needs to be done, and so operator can do that. And this is, of course, a capacity they had to, let's say, to see what could be, let's say, a scale 1, let's say, full launch. And this is what they do multi-session in VR. They can be like representative and to see the launcher taking off. That's nice. Okay. So I think it's more clear, but I think we can even do more easy for you to understand. And we are going now to move to the live demo. So we are going to show you live demo, but with using one CAD model about this spacecraft, which is a tourism spacecraft. And we're going to let's say, put it on the platform and to show you what you can do with that, okay, with different scenarios. So the first one, the first step is to import the CAD model. So of course this one has been done before because it takes 10 minutes. So I mean, if you had a CAD model you want to try, you can do it afterwards. So it's really something important. We will show you how it goes for a smaller one. But just for this very first one is just to show you once the CAD model is loaded, how you can create an experience and play it. So you can add an extension. So we want to see this CAD model into the space. So we have a space environment, which is like an asset we build using Unreal. And we want to see the CAD into the space in a very like a Skyreal application. Okay? Can we switch to the computer, please?
All right. So let's start with the first demo. So here you see Deck, our main software that Hugo just told you before. And this software is used to import the CAD with UI and also to manage every CAD you've been uploaded thanks to CLI, for example, when you have some PLM connection. And here I've created two experiences. So I will just start with this one, just to let you know that an experience is a mix, as Hugo said, between an app, some extension, and some CAD data. So for this experience, I will just run Skyreal VR, which is our main software, just to let you see how it works. Within desktop, we don't have any HMD today, so we'll only focus on desktop application. So here is your CAD model launching in a few seconds. In Skyreal, you benefit for every kind of features you have inside Unreal. So everything is dynamic. You can just move parts, for example. So here is just how the planes can turn and so on. You have the full access of every part of your planes coming from the CAD. You can also see the full hierarchy of your product and move, height, and so on for every part of your system. If you look inside, you can see that, sorry about that. There is the full details within the aircraft. So yes, here is the engine, for example. As Hugo told you just before, we added some extension on this demo. So we added the space environment right here. So we can put your CAD inside the context of usage. We can have some control just here. So for example, the time, if you want to see things turning around. So here you can see that this is Lumen doing the rendering. We have also some nanite within the model. I will just focus a little bit on the cabin because we are in virtual environments. What we can easily do is things like putting some glass material, for example, within the cabin to see what it could look like. So just right there. And here is your space plane with a glass. Just running at the Earth, which is right there. But Skyreal is not only about marketing, it's also about reviewing. So we can also doing stuff like putting a meta-human just in your scene, like that, in a few clicks. Yep. Just make her sit in the seat, like I said, in a few clicks. There. There. All right. Just like that. We can control all its bones, like up the hand, for example. We can just close the hand and so on. So there is a lot of things that we can do within the software. We can also, oops, sorry about that. Look at what she's looking. Using some picture-in-picture. There. So, sorry. Great. So you can see through the window, I'm not sure it's... Yes,
yeah, you can see it.
Right. That she's looking a little bit of Earth, but not the full Earth. So it's a way to see, to simulate anything on your product and so on. All right? So there is a lot of more features, but we run out of time, so let's dig into the second demonstration.
Can we switch back on the presentation? So the very first step is to show you, so we import the CAD and then we can create experience by merging the CAD models, an extension, here it was the environment, and to run the application in a minute. So it is very easy. So the second one, we want to simulate that, of course, most of the time when we run this kind of project, there is, let's say, content updates. So there is new CADs, and here we want to show you that, let's say that we have new seats for the spacecraft, and we want to update the models. So we are going to import the new models, the new parts, and update the experience with the new seats, and to do that in a blink, to show you how it goes. And we are going to run this in a second experience, a second application which is called Product Explorer. Can you please switch back to the computer? Yes?
All right, thank you. So here you have still deck, but in a second section, which is called 3D library, where you can see every single files that you've imported within XR Center. So first of all, I will just import the data of the new seats, just like Hugo told you. We have control during the import on what we call the SAG. The SAG is kind of the precision of the model. So for example, here I put 0.1 millimeter and I start uploading. Because it's a little bit long, I will just take the time to explain what it's behind. So the first step...
You can show the process running?
Of course. So the first step is importing the data. So we have a reader that will open the files and convert the BREP data into tessellated data into a neutral format. And once it's done, some preparation agents working in a pool in backend on over the network just wake up to prepare and to convert the data into Unreal Engine asset, and then cook it to be available on any application using Unreal. So just to show you a little bit of what the plane look like, because perhaps you forgot, there. We have another application which is called the viewer. All right. Sorry. So the seats, the previous seats looked like that. It was more like a space allocation. It was not the real seats of the plane. I will just show you how we can replace easily these seats by the new one that are still importing. It should be done in a few seconds.
So as I said as well, I mean, we have, let's say, almost all the formats from CAD system are, let's say, possible when you import, and you can cherry pick. And the idea is to be able to merge if you have a GT files from your product, then you have your building from another format, and you have as well tools or Gigant tools from something else, of which is really appreciated by customers to be able to create a scene merging all these assets.
All right, so 1 minute and a half. So let's go into our experience that I just showed you before within Skyreal, and let's open another application which is called Product Explorer. So in this application, we also have the 3D viewer, but embedded inside our application so that it's easy to understand what we are changing live. Up. Okay, so you see the old seats. You also see the full product structure, and just here you have the components containing all the 4 seats. So we just delete them easily. So you see that just disappear live, and then just add the new one that I've just imported a few seconds ago. All right. So you don't have to rebuild everything. Everything is live, and in a few clicks, you just imported the new seats on your system. Of course, everything that I've done manually can also be done using CLI and be automated for PLM connection to have live update of your model. All right.
I think that's it. Can we go back to the presentation? All right. So what you saw that, so the runtime experience can be, let's say, we have been doing hot reload with the new CAD files. And of course, we can, let's say, you see like on the product tree, we can do some kind of product tree edition if you want to do some any kind of other organization on layers that can be like manufacturing, bill of materials, on all other capabilities. The third one now is really we're trying to create a new experience using the space plane, so the same aircraft, on another environment. It will be more like a cloud on a air. And we are going to edit the map on the first row because we want to using Unreal Editor to create new content. Okay, and then we will going to show you how it goes when we can as well go back inside the system and play it. Okay, and we are going to you how we go back and forth to change the content and to play the experience in the runtime. Okay, can we go on the computer?
Okay, so back to deck. You have the second experience that you saw. I just click on it. And run into Skyreal just to let you see what it looks like. It's still the same plane, but we have done some little modification, and I will show you just after how we did that. So we have cut some of the meshes so that you can see what's inside. It's still the same CAD models, but with mesh operation on it. I can just let you see that on the engine there is nothing. It's kind of important for the rest of the demonstration because we'll add some fire at the end of the plane. So let's see how it works.
So the idea is to, let's say, open Unreal Editor to add some burst on the engine to make something like more realistic to see the engine, let's say, the aircraft flying. Okay. So you see, okay, vas-y.
So here I'm opening Unreal Editor. It's actually Dex that is authoring the full engine, so that you can edit anything on it and just exiting, and then it will go through the preparation agent that will cook everything to be available on any application of your system. So here is the same plane, but within Unreal Editor, and anything I will do within the editor will be back into Skyreal. So for example, I've just prepared something. So as I said, we can add some fire within the aircraft. So I've downloaded some kind of fire on the Epic Game Store. Just an asset. So yes, put the fire on this side. So it's really easy to bring some gamification within your CAD in a few clicks. And I also add some viewpoints. So you benefit from all the data structure of Skyreal that we bring upon the rest of the engine. So here I'm just driving the second drive view, just putting its name. And just duplicate it to create a third one. It will be important for the rest of the game. App, view 3. All right. Just to let you see that we also imported within the CAD, we also imported some groups from the PLM, so the cabin, the jet engine, the oxygen tank, for example, and so on. So the model is divided into functional groups, and it's important for the rest. So what you see here is just an extension of Skyreal. We have a system used for create some simple extension for our clients to customize a little bit Unreal to make it easier to edit CAD within Unreal. So I just have to exit Unreal and then just wait a few seconds so that Deck understands that Unreal has exited, uploading the content online. All right, and then just ask for rebuilding the simulation. So in a few clicks, we'll have to wait something like 1 minute, 2 minutes.
So can we go back on the presentation?
All right.
Okay, so what you see here is that the Unreal Editor project was, let's say, generated with the map automatically from the system. And of course, you can edit and take the benefit from everything from the Unreal, let's say, games library and content behavior. That can be widget for the UI, for the users. It can be any kind of behavior to move, let's say, any kind of mechanisms inside the systems. And of course, the idea is that once it is done, you can save the system. You see what is happening right now, and it is committed back to the database, and it is doing the background cook in order to be played again to the game. And of course, the idea is how it is a platform. You can do that anywhere in your company. It is really the system taking care to deploy the data. You don't need to copy paste your files all around. Okay.
Can we switch back? So it's 100%, but it's not yet completely terminated.
A few seconds. Few seconds.
Few seconds. Yeah. It's just downloading the results, and it's down. So let's go back in the experience and just launch it using Skyreal VR to see what it looks like. So same map as before, but this time you can see the fire at the end. And you also can see that we have added some views, view 2 and view 3. All right.
Okay, can we go back to the presentation? All right. So then the final things, and it will be the, okay, so now we want to show you that we can create any custom plugin, and that is very easy, and of course to play it on the same content, okay? So the idea is that we try to show you, as it is very simple, we try to do something a little bit, let's say, not very industrial, but just to show you that it is easy, and we did it in a few days with the team. Okay, so the idea is really to play a clicker game with you. and to create some kind of playing with your phone to click on zones, the zones which are coming from the product structures. And so you can click and to see the impact on live on the aircraft that will be colored according to the click and the room. Okay, so we're going to show you how to create the game and how to push this. And of course, the rules that you will have 1 minute to win as many zones as possible, let's say with your team by clicking on them on your phone. All right, so let's go back on the computer.
All right, so here I have an Unreal editor project, so I'm no more in the deck context, I'm just in a standard Unreal project. And you'll see this is my development environment for this extension. So you will see that there is something looking like the plane, but not really the plane, it's just for debugging and so on. So I didn't say it at the beginning of the session, but this is a standard laptop. It's not a heavy machine and so on. I'm just running it on a laptop that everyone can buy easily. So here is my development environment. Just to let you see that every part of my code is here in the Unreal Face plugin. I've made a controller to manage all the game. And I will just add a little piece of code with you within the begin play to let you see how we can edit part of the game easily. So I will focus on make the camera move while the game is running to have some viewpoints I just created before and see how it works and so on. So the idea is to retrieve, first of all, the viewpoints. So get all actor of class, of type Skyreal that I used before. All right, put it in all viewpoints. I just prepared the demo before, that's why the variable exists. It's just to be a little bit faster. And then we'll just create a set timer by event so that each 8 seconds we can move the camera on camera move tick. To debug easily, I will just add something like get extension debug mode to make a select on the time. And so that I will put, yeah, right. In development environment, I will say that it's 2 seconds so that you don't have to wait too much time. And in shipping, let's say we have 8 seconds. Of course, we are looping. Then I just have to retrieve the pawn. Is valid. All right. And on this pawn, just doing a set actor transformer. So it's really a simple piece of code to move the pawn. On this transform, I will just get the views, get an item on it. And on this item, just get the actor transformer. All right. So then I just have to pick the index of the actor I'm looking for. So for that, I have the current view index that I will increment each time. Yes, just right there. Initialize to 0. Current view index. And last but not least, the modulo and the lens. All right. So, quite easy piece of code. And just to let you see how it works on the development environment, you will see the game just running. Please do not use the QR code just right now. We'll just use it in the real game, all right? So here is the games, what it looks like in the development environment. I can fake add some teams some people, sorry, in the teams. Then I will start the game, so you will see the camera moving. If it works, all right, it works. I will simulate some click on the simulation so that you can see how it will work. And you see that I move every 2 seconds. I've put a very quick time in the development environment so that you can see how it works. And then you have the score page to show you who win. All right? Can we switch back to the... Oh, no, I've got to last thing because it's not yet done. I have to package my game. This is really important. So, build repository. And there you can switch. There is something like 1 minute.
Inside the deck, how do you create a new launch? No.
No. So perhaps you can switch to the presentation so that you can explain the game. Yeah.
Can you please? Yes. Okay. So yes, I didn't tell you the rules before. It was supposed to be now. So you understand that the goal, let's say, the aim was to, let's say, play with the zones, which are, let's say, the main project structure from the CAD models. And the idea is to show that you can play with this, and of course, you can do whatever you want. And here you see that these zones will be, let's say, colored according to the click from different players. And of course, we have created a server to connect all this. Okay. So it will be like you will be able to connect on yourself using your phone in a few seconds, and you will be spread over the team, so you don't have to select. It will be randomly done, and then you have 1 minute to click everywhere on the zone, and you will see also on your screen you have the capacity to have a top view or a side view, and of course it allows you to get on because if you click on the wings, you cannot do that on the side view, so you have to switch from view top and view sides. Okay.
We can run?
Yes.
All right.
Is it?
Can we switch? All right. So I'm back to the deck experience, and then I will not run this time the Skyreal VR, but the Unreal Fest clicker game, just up with the new extension that I've just packaged in something like 1 minute. All right, so here is the true demo working on the CAD we just created before, with the fire, with the viewpoints, and so on. So I let you register to the system. If you, yes, right, I have some user connecting. So the team are random, so perhaps there will be more people in one team than another. We will see that. Okay.
Okay.
So here you see your name. If you don't see it, you can just go back to the web page and do it again. Sometimes it doesn't work. So for information, the server is hosted on AWS that we are working with. And let's start the demo in 3 seconds, if everybody is ready. So 3, 2, 1,
go.
Go. So as you can see, the camera is moving every 8 seconds. So pink people, you're losing.
There's clearly a knockout. Somebody is really like pushing a lot.
So 30 seconds left.
Maybe we should have had music.
All right, yeah.
For next
time. The music. Or perhaps there are more people in the yellow team. 15 seconds?
Yes. Maybe.
3, 2, 1, oh.
Go.
Poor people. So, Team A.
Okay.
So congrats, Team A. So Neil, you were the first to click on the game. GLM, you was the best for your team. And Valentin, you are the best just by clicking on the game. All right.
Can we go back to the presentation? Okay, so thank you so much. So just to conclude, so just this one is to show you that, okay, you can create your own content in terms of, let's say, execution and, let's say, customized application, and then, of course, to launch through the platform. So you see, like, in what we show you that from the same CAD model coming from Katia, we created, let's say, 4 different experiences, completely different, using different application and customization and content and so on. So it's really easy to reproduce this with whatever models, whatever content, and any other application. So as conclusion, so you see this is really what we aim to do is to use CAD models and then to put that inside Unreal Engine content and, let's say, experience. To give you, so we have a lot of industrial users already using this platform. So at Airbus, they've been using this to secure ramp-up, production ramp-up in the manufacturing plant. And so they simulate all the operation to identify non-quality issues before the production starts. And it was really a huge way to do right the first time the production. And at ATR, which is another aircraft manufacturer, they are using the platform to produce an inexpensive cabin configurator with a high-level rendering. And it was really the same platform with just the capacity to change, let's say, the cabin configuration. And it was really a big sale business value for them. So to conclude, so I'm really convinced that in the future, game engine technology will be everywhere and essential for industrial companies, especially with that, I mean, as they take bigger and more ambitious projects. So with Skyreal Solution, we're offering them the opportunity to take the leap today. And in the end, what we're proposing is easy, it is industrial, it is powerful and limitless, and moreover, they're really useful for making a difference. So really, you can join the movement. There is a dedicated email address if you want more contact, and there is some people ready to answer to your question. And of course, you can test it. It's available today, and it's easy to install and to play. Well, thank you so much for your attention. And if there is 1 or 2 questions, you can take them.
Thanks.